Okay, so before I start with 4-3, I want to specify something about triangle congruence that was also important in 4-2, and that's our triangle congruence statement, which I touched on a little bit in 4-2, but it's mainly saying triangle what is congruent to triangle what by either SSS, SAS, ASA, AAS, and with what. And our widths are what we're on 4-2's at the bottom here, like midpoint bisector, vertical angles, alternate interior angles, or the reflexive property. And so those are all things that could go in our with statement. So that's how triangle congruence should look. If you're doing Math Excel, it's on like drop-down menus of what to fill in these blanks. You're writing it out either on the warm-up or on a test or on if you're doing textbook problems, then this is how you would write it every time it's asking for the little proof thing, okay? So that's what you would write for that, and your justification is this part, okay? So now we want to talk about angle, side, angle postulate. So just like how with side, angle, side, the angle had to be in the middle, had to be in between the two sides. So that was very important for side, angle, side postulate. The same is true for angle, side, angle postulate. The side must be in between the two angles. Now that is very important to understand. We can see that in between these two angles is this side, okay? Now I'm going to show you a different example. I'm just going to draw one out where we have a triangle, okay? And this formed a right angle, so we know this would also form a right angle. We don't normally write it like that. We normally have it written with just one little box because we know a straight line equals 180. So if that's 90, this must be 90. And then let's say it told us these two angles were congruent. Okay, now let's give this triangle a name, or these triangles names. And so my congruent statement, what this would look like, because I have an angle here. They share this side, so it's the reflexive property, and an angle here. So I have angle, side, angle. So I would say triangle ABC. Now if I start with A, I have to start with B. Congruent to triangle DBC by angle, side, angle with what helped us prove this was the reflexive property. Okay, and so that's how we would write that congruent statement. Okay, so keep that in mind. So that's how when they share a side, that's an easy way to recognize the reflexive property. Okay, so that's how we have it on here. On this one, there's no width because this is just very straightforward angle, side, angle, angle, side, angle. Our last one on these main four shortcuts proving triangles congruent is angle, angle, side. Okay, so this time it does not matter that the side is in the middle. So you're like, why does it matter up here? These are two very different things. This is a postulate, this is a theorem. Theorems we have to prove, postulates are facts. We're not going to get too into detail. We can use both of these whenever, but the reason why angle, angle, side is so important because you have to double check this one, okay? For angle, angle, side, angle, angle, side, we have to double check that's the correct side that's being congruent. I'm going to try to draw out a picture of something that is not angle, angle, side. So this one says if two angles and a non-included side of a triangle are congruent, two angles and the corresponding, which means the side that goes with it, of the other, then the two triangles are congruent. And so if we look on here, we can see, I'm going to show you guys a non-example. I'm going to do this to the best of my ability, but ignore it if it doesn't look right. So if I have angle, angle, and then side, okay, and then on this other triangle, I have angle, angle, side. Now, notice this side is touching this double arced angle, and this congruent side is touching this single arced angle. These aren't the corresponding sides. So that's why I always say to double check the corresponding side, okay? And so these two would not be congruent by angle, side, angle, angle, side, And so we would not write a congruent statement if there's not enough information, okay? So on our practice problems, yes, you are still welcome to do Math Excel or these practice problems down here. But your other option is this triangle congruence worksheet. I will have an uploaded copy of this under this assignment. I'll probably link it into right under these notes, a copy of this worksheet. I really like this worksheet, and it really identifies the importance of the identifying which ones of these to use: SSS, SAS, ASA, angle, side. Let me pull out that worksheet. Okay, so on this worksheet, the way that this works is on each one of these, we're writing which one we're using: side, angle, side. Here's a better one with the directions written out. So side, angle, side, angle, side, or none. And there might be at least one with none. And so you would say, well, I see here, side, angle, side. Okay, so I would write on the line up here. I'm not actually going to write on this worksheet because this is one of my few copies of it. I would write side, angle, side up there. And we used side, angle, side with reflexive property. Okay, so that's what I would put on that line. Okay, and if you want to just write these out in your journal, and this could be your assignment instead of like if you don't have a printer at home, you could just write these in your journal. Side, angle, side with RP. And then it also says you must do the back congruent statement right to get credit. So if we flip over to the back, okay, we can see back here, it says, and this still says number 1, so it goes with number 1. So even though it's all the way on the back, it gives us triangle FIG, and then we're supposed to fill in the second half of this, okay? So remember, it doesn't matter how we start, but since it gives us a start, we have to stay consistent. So if we do FIG, well, F goes with H, so I have to do HIG. See how number 1 goes with number 1 on here. So I would say HIG. So this is how I could write it in my journal if I don't have a printer to print out this worksheet. I could just look up this worksheet on the Canvas site and then do these in my journal. Okay, this is how you get full credit on one question. If you just do this part, you will only get half credit because that's only half the problem. You need both parts. Try to keep them together. It really helps you to understand it. So do number 1 fully together and so on and so forth. So I will make sure those are uploaded with the correct directions written on them. That way you understand what to do. And if you have any questions, please let me know. You are still more than welcome to do textbook problems or this worksheet or Math Excel. But I highly recommend this worksheet above all else because it helps you get a grasp of all 4 of these that we have learned.